Morning, Wall Street winners. It is Monday, February the 10th, and we are about an hour to the market open, a little less than an hour. If we take a look at the Bloomberg right now, we can see that despite President Trump announcing on Air Force One on his way to the Super Bowl last night, where the Giants crushed Kansas City, what a interesting turn of events there and an outcome. Despite his announcement of 25% tariffs on aluminum and steel, the markets are actually quite positive and in the green this morning. If we take a look at the futures here, we'll see that all three of the US indices are in the green. The NASDAQ up the most, 0.86%. So it looks like we're going to be off on a bit of a recovery today because we did have a bit of a sell-off on Friday going into the weekend. If we flip over to the Yahoo Finance app, interesting to see the VIX has come down. It is just hovering above 16 right now. And crude has gone up. So crude is up 86 cents this morning, almost a dollar. Um, Getting close to that $72 a barrel crude futures mark. If we take a look down through our list, health and retail mostly in the green this morning after pretty much everything being in the red on Friday. So looking like we're going to see a bit of a recovery here. Home Depot up almost three quarters of a or over 0.75% at 410.50. So it's making a bit of a comeback this morning. It's heading into earnings at the end of this month on the 25th. So I do expect that we're going to see some positive results out of Home Depot. But we'll have to wait and see what comes out of that. We also have transports. Transports got clobbered on Friday. Looks like JB Hunt is coming back a little bit. Still pretty fairly priced there at 166. If that's an area that you're looking to get into, it does have a 29 times price to earnings, so it's still high from my perspective in that. But it's looking at where it's been trading in the trading envelope. It's definitely in an area where there's some opportunity. Oil looks like it's making a recovery, even though on Friday, oil, for the most part, as you can see, was in the green and had a pretty positive day. Valero being one of the exceptions, as well as Devon Energy, but they are all looking like they are going to make positive movements up this morning. And then we get into tech, and I've added a couple of new names to the portfolio over the past couple of days. One of them being Uber. I'm a big believer based on Uber's last earnings that this stock has a lot more momentum and opportunity to grow. Also, because my kids use this a ton, and I'm just trying to recoup some of the money they've spent. We also turn our attention to the semis. So we're going to hear from Applied Materials this week, and it is up almost 1.5% in the pre-market. We've got Texas Instruments, which dropped down. I like it in the 170s, but it hit 180 to close, and I think it's got some opportunity to move back up after some bad earnings this quarter. So it's up this morning. Nvidia is up slightly this morning. Micron is up, but not nearly as much as it was down on Friday. CrowdStrike, getting into the cybersecurity space, it's up. Net had some great earnings. It's up again. You can see it was up 25 bucks on Friday on those earnings announcements, and Palo Alto up as well. And these are coming into earnings this week as well. So we're going to hear from Palo Alto in 3 days, and I do expect to hear some positive things out of Palo Alto. Um, if we scroll down further, you can see there was some pullback in Team, which is Atlassian, which had great earnings and really rocketed up about a week ago. But then it has recovered and, sorry, not recovered, but pulled back and is recovering today based on being up $3.92. Then we get down into some of the bigger names, Meg 7 type names. You've got Microsoft. It had a hard day on Friday, but it's coming back a little bit. ARM pulled back. It's popping again today. On had earnings this morning on semi, and they missed on their earnings. They're down $3. They're getting hit pretty hard. That's a 6% drop on a $50 stock. So not a good sign for ARM for on right now. But I think that they've had a pretty much a bad year, and I think they're going to turn the corner at this point. So I think you might be in for a buying opportunity in on semi at this point. And if you're holding it, you might want to continue to hold on to that, as I think you will see a bit of a recovery this year. But we'll have to see what their guidance announcement came out as with the earnings. I haven't had a chance to look at that and what they're looking for in terms of 2025 sales. Um, I think Shopify is going to have a good day and a good week this week. It's got earnings out tomorrow. I'd be surprised if earnings weren't very positive out of Shopify. And then as we scroll down further, Workday is another one on my list to watch. Lamb Research has been making a comeback and it's up again in the pre-market. I'm looking for Lamb Research to get into the 90s. That's kind of my if it can get to the low 80s, if it breaks 87, then I think it's potentially now broken through its upper ceiling and it could continue upwards. So I'll be keeping an eye on Lamb Research. Uh, Amazon with okay results last week, down nine, almost $10 on Friday, up a buck this morning. So not making the recovery. Tesla continuing to fall, Meta continuing to rocket forward. Just a stock with some unbeatable fundamentals right now. Netflix having some a pretty good ride upwards as well, up $10 pretty much in the pre-market. Alibaba, not one of my favorites because it's a Chinese stock right now, but it has historically been a favorite of mine, and I have not done well with that favorite choice. It's making a comeback, almost $5 today, so that's a 5% move. It'll be interesting to see kind of what's causing that. I mentioned NVIDIA earlier with NVDL, and then Google. I think Google is an absolute steal in the 180s. We're going to hear from Adobe later in the quarter, so they don't announce until March the 12th. They're one of the later ones. TSM dropped $4 on Friday. I think it's worth getting into, even if it's up 270 at the open. I think it's a steal in the low 200s. That's going to be a 250, $60 stock by the end of this year. And then Twilio. Twilio is announcing this week. This might be an interesting one to look at as well. Um, uh, because a lot of the Mag 7 didn't really pop this quarter. A lot of the smaller names did. And then another one I've added to the portfolio, which is rocketing upwards today after some less than awesome results and movement after the results, is Apollo Global Management. So they're up almost $5 this morning. And then we get into SoFi. SoFi is coming back, should be above 15 this morning, on its way back up to 18, probably in 3 months or so. Or in the next quarter. And then we've got the big names, and most of these financial stocks in the green as well this morning. So looks like we're going to be off to a pretty positive start. Keep your eyes out for news coming out of the White House, announcements and press conferences. Those, as we know, have the ability to really shake things up, and keep your eye on earnings. So that's my goal and objective for really the remainder of February with my trades. And I'll be looking to get into stocks that are good companies that drop for no real reason, maybe known or announced at the time, and are going in the opposite direction that day of the greater index. If it's a tech stock, the NASDAQ. So if the NASDAQ's going up, but Google's going down, I'll probably look at taking a position in Google and waiting for it to catch that updraft back up with the index being lifted or lifting it upwards. Good luck in your trades today. And if you're liking these videos, please hit the like and subscribe button.